Hey, good morning. Chuck here with Apple Drains. We are here in North Florida right after Hurricane Matthew. A lot of damage out here, but a lot of flooding. And what we're going to do is, if you can see this lake behind me, this is their backyard. And we're actually going to install a sump pump and pump this water out. Florida backyards, there is no other way to get rid of this water. Once that groundwater rises up, that water will not go anywhere. It'll enter your house, your garage, everything. So you've got to get rid of this water, and the best way to do that is to install a sump pump and a sump pit. First, we're just going to have to pump out the water. This is about half an acre back here, and it is totally underwater, about 5 or 6 inches deep. So we're going to pump the water out first. Let me show you how to make a temporary sump pump pit. So you can see how deep this water is. You see my boot, it's actually about 4 inches deep all across here. And again, Florida backyards, you know, when it floods, it's because the groundwater has no place to go. The water table has risen and brought this water back up. The noise you hear is our generator. They do not have any power, so I brought our generator out here for them to use while we're doing our work, help keep their refrigerator cool and things like that. So the first thing that we need to do is make a temporary bucket to hold the sump pump. We don't want all the debris and sand getting clogged up in the impeller. So I'm going to use a 5-gallon bucket. Again, this is a temporary sump pit. Do not use this for a permanent pit in your crawl space or anywhere. It's just temporary. What we're going to do is take a 1/2-inch drill, and we're going to drill holes all around here to let the water come in. The more holes, the merrier. So when you finish, it should look like a bait bucket, but you have a 5-gallon bucket full of holes all around and the bottom, and our sump pump's going to sit down inside of here. Next, we're going to dig a little hole over here. They've already got a low area, so we're going to dig the hole there, sink the bucket, put the pump in, and pump this water back out of this area. Okay, so here's our bucket, and we've already started the hole, but you can see it's not quite deep enough. I'm going to dig it a little bit deeper. I don't know, maybe that will work. Let's go ahead and set the pump in there and see what happens. So the pump we're using is a Zoller H2O Pro, and it pumps about 40 gallons a minute. It's ready to go. Let me plug it in, let's see what it does. Oh yeah, she's a pumping away pretty good. Let's see where this is going to discharge in case you're curious. You can see I'm using a temporary hose. A little leak there, we'll tighten that up. But basically, it's going to come out. We just want to get it over this hill right here. So let's push it over the hill. There we go. And this area here should flood away from the area. And you can see a pretty good stream coming out of here. We're pushing that water about 60, 70 feet. And that little pump is going to pump that area out. I would say to take it, I don't know, maybe 2 hours. Let's tighten up this leak. So we're pumping out about a 1/2 acre with a 1/3 of a horsepower pump. 40 gallons a minute. I don't know the math. You could do it if you wanted. I'd say it'll take it a good couple of hours before that begins to really dry out back here on their property. There's a lot of water standing out here. Hey, good morning. Chuck here with Apple Drains. So you know, the other day we came out here to this property and we pumped out a lot of water out of here. Now we just have some low spots that, you know, of course are still holding water. But basically what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and trench a new line. We're going to put a drain in this low spot here. The line's going to go across to that side of the property, and then it's going to go all the way out to the street, to the swell out front by the culvert. And again, if you've got a property that, this is from the hurricane, but if you've got a property that once that groundwater rises, it has no place to go, and you can see it just sits here for days and days. This is, what, 3 days after the hurricane, and water's draining. I'll show you out front here at the culvert. Water's draining, but the groundwater back here is so high that this water can't go anywhere. So basically it's just evaporating. Remember, we put the sump pump over here and we pump that water out. And that little Zoller, I thought it was only going to take a couple of hours, but it actually took about 6 hours. But again, we had over a half an acre of water back here that was just totally flooded. It's 4 or 5 inches deep. In my opinion, that little pump did a great job.
So for the do-it-yourselfer, if you were going to install 300 feet plus of pipe, I would strongly suggest that you rent a trencher. Especially if you're in Florida, it cuts through sand like butter. And you can see just how quickly, I'm just showing a small section of our trench, so you can see the groundwater. We're going to show you that here in just a second.
So you can see right away, we're down here about 20 inches, and here's groundwater right here. So that's the reason that this property doesn't drain. From back there in that low spot, back there, that groundwater is the same depth. It just cannot get down through the soil. You can see it's just filling up the trench more and more. But once we put this through, we're just going to go under the fence, come out on the other side, and go all the way out to that swale, to the culvert, where it's plenty downhill. It's going to be about 2 feet deep or more as we hit that culvert. Okay, so once you have your trench dug, remember that you can rent a trencher for like 60 bucks for a half a day, 110 for the whole day, and that will make this job really simple. We're putting in over 350 feet of pipe here, so you really want to do it, with a trencher. But anyways, once you get this cleaned out, and again, you can see there's a lot of groundwater down there. I don't know if you can see that, but that trench is full of water. I'm just about ready to open up to the low spot. You're going to see this water just flow down through here so fast. You can see just how quickly just an open trench begins to drain an area that's flooded. So this water's running all the way down and around, like I said, and we need to go underneath that fence and then on out to the culvert. And if you look closely, you can see there's little mounds of sand that kind of dam it up, but then it just pushes through it and begins to flow more. And it's just going to run, like I said, all the way out to the culvert. So let's go back in the back and see how much water is actually draining away from this area. So not only is that section draining quite well, it's also taking it, from way over here too. You can see this area is almost completely gone, and that water is just migrating slowly through the sand, over to this area. And again, it should be out to the street. Let's go out there and take a look. So we've got a nice flow of water coming all the way from that low spot in the very center of the backyard, all the way out, looking really good. We'll let that dry. And it only take a few minutes, and then we'll lay some pipe, cover it up, put our catch basin in the back, and we're done. Hey, this is Chuck with Apple Drains, reminding you that if you believe you can do something, I guarantee you can do it. Have a great day.